Well, we can get into the news. We might. I guess it's time.
Did anything happen?
Did anything happen yet?
Do we have to talk about this?
I guess we should rip it off and just begin. The PS5 Pro has been announced. We had it's funny. It was literally right after we last recorded, and we kept talking about it seems like it's getting closer and closer. And then it was like the day before, like, we're going to have a 9-minute video tomorrow.
9 minutes.
And the first thing I thought to myself is, can Mark Cerny talk for just 9 minutes? Can they condense that to 9 minutes? Like, is it possible? So it's been announced. We've seen it. We know what it is. It's not a very good deal.
It's awful.
At least in my opinion.
Mark Cerny seemed really excited. He's
very excited.
That presentation was fucking.
It was
boring.
Terrible.
So bad.
For a lot of reasons. We'll go through the bad stuff here. So
horrible.
The first thing we'll say is it is $700. I kept saying after, like, literally for 10 minutes straight, I just kept saying to myself after the presentation, it's $700.
To yourself, you were basically yelling at me in texts that it was $700.
It's $700. Like, I couldn't believe it. I thought maybe max $6. So
I told you I had a feeling it was going to be crazy.
It is $700.
I feel like you could have gotten $700 if
it had a disc drive
in it.
Or a stand. It doesn't.
A stand.
The stand is extra bullshit to me because it's in every picture of the fucking thing. If you're not going to put it in the box, don't even put it in the picture. The console's already floating in space. I don't need to know that it's floating in space on a stand in your picture. Take the fucking stand off.
It's important to note
it's a disclaimer thing.
It's the vertical stand.
Right.
Because it's not like the OG PS5 where the stand did both.
No. Well, they have to give you a horizontal stand.
They have to. There's no way you can lay it down.
Because the system cannot sit horizontally the way it's designed.
Why? No. Because it's an MC Escher painting.
Good Lord. Fucking terrible.
So if you want to get, for most people that want this thing, it's over $800 when you're all said and done.
That's such
because
trash.
You're looking at a disc drive that is $80, which
if you can buy
is now
one.
just up to I was gonna say is now up to scalpers because those things sold out immediately.
Yep.
It's funny because right before the conference, I thought to myself, like, maybe I should buy one of these disc drives just to have, like, if I ever want to go. And I shouldn't have done it. I think I would have just sat on it.
I think they're going to make a lot more of them. I think right now it's just a thing, but if they're going to go forward with digital systems and this thing, then they have to make more disc drives. They don't have a choice.
And then obviously the vertical stand thing is bullshit as well. But
that's kind of whatever.
My biggest issue with all even $700 is probably my biggest issue is too expensive. But there wasn't a single new game shown in this 9-minute presentation. They started with showing you how good the grass is going to look in Last of Us Part 2 Remastered.
That
was the first thing they showed.
Kyle, who gives a shit about that? What about the parade in Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah, it's like Ratchet and Clank. So they just showed you like how these games are going to look slightly better in a fused quality and performance mode.
And it's all bullshit. You could have swapped the labels at the top for like this is this one and this is this one, and everyone would have been like, "Oh yeah, I see. Oh yeah, I see it."
Oh yeah.
No, you don't. Because when they showed the Spider-Man one was the worst one because the worst one. The scenes weren't even the same. They looked different because the traffic and stuff was different. So it's too hard to focus on. Does that tree look better? I can't tell because there's cars fucking moving everywhere. Like this is what is happening? The whole time it's like, what is happening?
And again, I will say, like, you're watching this over something that's being streamed on YouTube, so there's going to be compression, but like even still,
But here's a question for you. How was there not one new game shown in that? And by new game, I mean the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster is basically going to be shown to us in like a week, right?
Yeah, it's more or less announced.
Sure,
minus the actual announcement.
Wouldn't that have been the perfect place to show it? Because that would have been because that's a PS4 game that's going to be on PS5 Pro.
There you go. Yeah,
that's when you show it because then it's like that game is guaranteed to look different. It's not going to be. Yeah. This guy's eyelash in the corner is better. I have more polygons for his eyelash.
Yeah.
Like all the tech stuff and shit is it's whatever. I believe you that it's more powerful. I get it.
It's only
I'm not buying it to play Spider-Man 2 again.
Like it's And that was so they showed the different games that are going to have like official pro patches or whatever. And the one that gets me is Dragon's Dogma, because they're promising, Dragon's Dogma is going to have 60 frames or whatever. But the problems with Dragon's Dogma, as we've talked about, because I've played it on both PC and Xbox now, there's CPU bound problems. But the CPU in this new system is only 10% more powerful. It's just the GPU is what's being heavily upgraded. So like, I don't know if that's going to fix the problems with
the other stuff. I mean, the other stuff like the AI upscaling stuff is interesting.
That's interesting.
I'm interested to see like what that could do for older stuff. None of the stuff you showed me matters at all.
That's another thing that bothered me is like they clearly said, I believe it was either during the presentation or in the press release after, that the PS4 or I keep calling the PS4 Pro, the PS5 Pro is going to like have significant upgrades and boosts for PS4 games.
Show it.
And why didn't you show that?
Show all of it.
This would have been perfect time to show Bloodborne running at 60 frames.
No. You can't show that one.
You don't think
that is the last
You
thing.
cannot show that game.
But if you should,
I mean, considering everything I've seen so far the last couple of days, talking about the Horizon remaster, it's just people going, "We want fucking Bloodborne!" Like that's the response to everything.
This is they could have shown it and just like, "This is the best you're gonna get, assholes." The PS4 version run out of PS5 Pro. It was such a thud of an announcement. Because not only is this thing $700 fucking dollars, $800 if you want a thing with the drive. The current model didn't change price at all,
and the controllers went up $5.
Right, so we're not even talking like this is the next step of our system line. That's not what it is. This is if you give a shit and you want to spend this money, this system exists.
Yeah.
It's not an entry level. The entry level is still $500.
Yeah, I what I think is going to happen with that is they're just eventually, we didn't make any more entry level ones. I think that's going to be what eventually the stores will only have that, and that'll just be the way you play.
That'll be real fucking bad if that's the case.
Yeah. I don't think that they'll formally announce that's what they're doing.
Oh no!
I think it'll just kind of eventually. That's the thing. I will say, like, I have no desire to buy this because I'm not ready for digital only in my life yet. I know inevitably that is what is going to be, but I'm not ready for that to be today for me.
No.
but I will say I was so annoyed by this announcement because like. It seems so easy for Sony to not look like assholes compared to all the dumb shit that Xbox has been doing recently. And then like, it's like, are they in a competition? Is there like a $1 trading places bet
between
Sony
beer,
and Microsoft where they're like, I bet you I can make people hate us more by doing something stupid.
Gotcha. They saw this ABK thing go down. They saw Starfield flop, all these games getting delayed. And they said, check this shit out.
Yeah, watch what we can do.
like 9 minutes.
I'm so annoyed by this that like seeing some of the very strong like the Twitter accounts that are like PlayStation Twitter accounts, watching them try to justify why this is great has made me want to delete Twitter.
It's crazy.
Not just like not care about Sony. Like I want to get rid of the entire app finally. All the right-wing weird shit that at least is like, you know, train wreck more to watch where you're just like, I can't believe they're allowing, but this is just like, okay, you've gone one step too far. I'm out.
It's like, insane.
I get what they're doing in a sense. They're trying to be like, this is the premier experience. Well, you're a Sony person, you have to get it. But even as like someone I am PS5 this generation, I have bought physical games for 4 years. You're immediately telling me go fuck myself because you want me to pay $800? Not only that, but if you really want one, you can't even get one from anyone else but them for the first 2 weeks. The disk drives are gone. I can't get value out of my current system towards it if I have to go through you. Like the whole thing is just a shit show.
Sucks too. That part sucks too, because the thing that's dumb about that is they didn't announce that until the following day. They just said that day, I was like, oh, pre-orders are going to go live on September 26th. And then it was the very next day. Oh, by the way, it's ridiculous. Only on PlayStation Direct until October 10th. Then you can go to GameStop or Walmart or whatever and reserve it there. But they won't get as many. It tells me like GameStops are probably going to get what, like 3, 4, 5 systems.
This is someone who worked the PS3 launch. Like obviously that was a new console. This is a half gen thing.
Yeah.
That one was a disaster. And you want to know half the reason why? It's because of the fucking price. No one wanted a PS3 at launch. Nobody did. Not only that, it didn't have any games. The PS5 Pro kind of doesn't have any games that I haven't already played. I told you I'd love to see what Final Fantasy 16 looks like on a Pro.
They haven't shown that, but they've shown Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Right. But I would love to see what 16 looks like on a Pro. But again, I've already played it. It's not an incentive for me to spend $800 to see how much better it looks.
Yeah, and I've already platinumed Horizon Forbidden West. I'm not going to go back to that.
Right.
I've already played God of War Ragnarok. I'm not going to go back to that. We know full well I'm never going to play Last of Us Part 2 again. So like everything that they showed, I just looked at and was like, I don't have a desire to return to these games. You're not showing me anything new. And the worst part about all of this, I mean, one of the reasons why it's $700 is there's no direct competition this time.
Right.
Microsoft is not doing this. They've clearly said multiple times, we're not going to have a mid-gen system.
That's an intelligent decision on their part.
It is, but it also makes me think that they're going to go earlier with whatever their next system is.
2 years, 3 years.
I think I'm still thinking it's 2026 for them.
26 is logical for them.
I've seen some people trying to push next fall. It's too soon.
Well, think about it this way, too.
It's too soon.
If you go back to like what a PS4 versus a Pro is, or an Xbox versus a One X is, those are half steps up. But we're at a point now where Series X and PS5 are just computers in a box. There isn't really a half step up anymore. It's just the next computer you build every 5 or 6 years. That's another one of the big arguments right now. It's like, if you're telling me I should spend $800 on a PS5 Pro, which is marginally better than what I already have, why wouldn't I just spend $800 to build a PC?
I told you, like, after this was all said and done, last Saturday I sat down and I pieced out building a new computer in the spring because I'm just going to do it a year earlier than I normally would. I'd rather, because with my work bonus, I'd rather do that in the spring instead of buy this PS5 Pro that is slightly better.
And even if you have to spend a little bit of extra money, like I think getting the exact same thing with a PC for $800, you might have to bump it up a little bit.
Sure.
But with the knowledge
that with the PC, you can do a billion more things.
Right.
Yes.
That,
exactly.
And also
way more use.
And also for a PC, realistically, if I go all in and I spend over $1,000 to buy a PC instead of buying this PS5 Pro for $800, in 4 years when the PS6 comes out, I can just upgrade the graphics card in my computer.
Yeah.
And we're still right there. And yes, I'm going to miss out on PlayStation exclusives. But
for a little bit.
But I still have a PS5.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Mine's a piece of shit right now, but it's right here.
I mean, Matt, you're the only one of us here that has a PS4, and you haven't missed anything. Even some of these exclusives,
really
Astrobot would probably be the only recent thing you can't play because it's only on PS5.
And I think, to be honest with you, like, my youngest has been watching videos on Astrobot, and he's like super peaked in it, but I just can't. Like, the only thing I really wanted to play was Spider-Man. I played it, and it was good. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but not for me to spend $500 on a system I don't really have a desire to upgrade to. I don't even know. Like, there's just nothing that really like even strikes me to this day that's made me go, man, I really need to get my hands on a PS5.
Yeah. Now, do we think with this, because I do think it's a good argument that I don't think this is going to sell amazingly out the gate.
No.
But do we think that GTA 6 will be the thing that makes people finally go, all right,
early reports say that system's not even going to help that game that much.
Well, GTA 6, but not everyone's going to do that research to know that.
Sure,
no,
but GTA 6 apparently, even with everything, is still probably going to be 30 frames. So then, what do I need a Pro for? The promise of the Pro during that stupid presentation was you don't have to choose anymore. You don't have to pick performance or quality anymore.
But then it came out
the
after.
best of the both
You
worlds.
still do.
And then right after that thing came out, it said, you're still going to pick though. You're still going to have a choice. It's just going to make it harder to tell the difference.
I think the game that was the most egregious with it was Alan Wake 2. When I was looking at it, because Alan Wake 2 has like 5 different modes you could choose from on the PS5 Pro. So it's just...
I shouldn't be choosing modes anymore.
No.
The mode should be called PS5 Pro, and it should just be
the mode is I hit power.
The mode is $800.
Yeah.
What am I paying for that I have to choose between these? When most of that presentation was, you won't have to choose. Check this shit out.
Exactly. That was his whole. That was the whole promise from Mark Cerny.
One of his 3 pillars.
the big 3 they called the big 3, right?
The big 3.
The
PSSR,
big 3. That's what it was.
The former Soviet Union was one. It's just. When you show me this, and when you tell me before you show me, you're not going to have to make that decision anymore. Everything's basically going to be 4K 60 or 1080 60, but everything's going to be 60, and then maybe the graphics will be better. And then it's immediately not.
Yeah.
So,
do you think they put 8K on the box for this thing again and then take it off like they did with the PS5?
Yeah, well, everybody fucking loves 8K.
Because
right?
I have that. I have that. Maybe that's a rare thing. I've never looked it up. My box is the 8K symbol, and then they took it off. Like,
well, because your eyes can totally see it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, fuck off.
My biggest issue is you're going to put out this interim system, and there was a reason to do it with the PS4 Pro because we upgraded from 1080p to 4K TVs. That was a big thing at that time. But now there's no competition, and my biggest issue with it outside of its price is we're still, and sorry to you, Matt, we're still catering to PS4.
Right.
Which, like, for people like Matt, there's no reason for him to upgrade if he doesn't want to.
But that's the argument. We haven't even gotten away from the last generation of systems.
So how do we know that
buy into the next step up on this one?
How do we know that we fully tapped what's possible with this system?
We haven't.
We haven't let go of the last one.
The systems don't get fully tapped until like 6 years in.
Yeah.
Go back and look at an early PS2 game and a late PS2 game and tell me that they didn't figure something out. Like, the best example I've ever seen is like, go play Gran Turismo 3 and then play Gran Turismo 4, and you tell me that they didn't unlock some fucking something. Because Gran Turismo 3 looks like you're driving boxes on wheels after you play Gran Turismo 4. And not the same system.
360 would be a good example, too, of like looking at early games versus the end.
Right. We're not even close to this.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that's been every system forever.
Right.
You know, hopefully you would think that people would figure it out, you know, better. Like even going back to NES games. Man, early NES games are unplayable
Bad.
now. And then the later ones are fantastic.
But at least with the PS4 Pro, it felt like I was buying a step up.
Well, also, they had a really good, compelling argument for you to buy it, which was, here's Horizon Zero Dawn, a new franchise, a new game, and it's going to play
far better on this. Yeah.
And that was convincing enough for me to buy that day one, even though that game didn't come out for like 5 months after it. So
I just bought the Spider-Man one of that, but that was it. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't know what I'm getting. Your presentation was not good. I know why you didn't just because we're getting this the state of play soon. I know why you didn't put that stuff in this one because you wanted this to be the focus. That was a mistake. It could have just been one whole thing. You could have shown all the games, did the 10-minute Cerny thing, and then he could have shown you an example of one of the games that just showed you running on a PS5 Pro.
Like Wolverine, if they're going to show that.
If they're going to show
that's the heavy rumored one for this showcase.
Yeah. So, I mean, this whole thing just seems like a pretty big fuck up because it's not going to sell well, right? I don't know a single person who said they want one.
They're saying that their analysts are predicting it'll sell as well as the PS4 Pro, which the PS4 Pro I think accounted for like between 10 to 13% of all PS4 sales. I mean, that wasn't a high number either in comparison, but I don't think it's going to sell that high either. I think it's going to be in the like 5-6%
for
range.
this price. I just don't get it. And then you see a lot of people trying to defend the price with like, oh, based on inflation rates and all that. Don't fuck with me. Inflation rates, dude. That means nothing.
To that one. We'll get to that later in the news because there's a good thing about.
Here's one other thing quick about the presentation, and then we can move on.
No, it
was 9 minutes, right? How much longer do you think it was before when a certain game no longer existed?
Concord?
Yeah. Do you think there was some time for Concord in that thing? Sony game.
Well, there had to be.
Maybe
recently released. That had to have been a focus of that presentation at some point.
It had to have been. I feel like there might have been something about it in there only because of some of the stuff we learned today, which we'll get to. But and it just released, and again, they were planning on that thing being a huge like Helldivers 2 level
10-year plan.
Oh yeah,
Destiny side.
And
I guarantee that presentation was probably originally 11
15.
minutes. I'm not going to say they're going to do 6 minutes on Concord.
Yeah, like 12 minutes.
Yeah, there was. I guarantee it was in there. I guarantee that was one of the little. Check this out, and then
maybe they showed you a new vignette of one of those characters.
Oh Lord, it would have been 20 minutes.
There you go. Yeah, it's the PS4 Pro. It's
PS5 Pro.
PS5 Pro. Yeah, I keep calling it PS4 Pro. That PS5 Pro, I just not a fan.
Man, just what an absolute dud. The minute it's over, every conversation was what just happened.
It was like I said, yeah, there are the typical, like you said, there are the typical like Sony shills out there that are trying to push him like, well, it's okay, but like it's few and far between.
Yeah.
Because I've seen even some of the hardest like Sony websites where like they're putting out articles like, I don't understand this.
Right.
Like this seems like what have they done? So, which I just laugh and go, well, now you see what it's like being an Xbox fan.
Wow.
So
yeah, and the thing that's frustrating about it though, and as someone who I'm primary Xbox myself, like I that is my go-to console for new shit for sure, is that like it's not like Xbox is now going to catch up. Like this is a stupid thing that Sony did. I think personally it's going to fail, but like, are people not going to play PlayStation anymore?
No,
because
no, it's not going to hurt them like that. Yeah,
you know,
it's just going to be leaving. It's just going to be another like, goddamn, they did it again, kind of a thing. And
I mean, because like the PSVR is, I think, a failure,
pretty much dead.
But does anyone care? Like
No.
in the grand scheme,
They just look at it as another Sony mistake, like the first VR or the PS TV or, you know, all the weird one-off shit they try, and that's just like the Move controllers. PSP Go, which actually PSP Go was kind of cool.
It's kind of cool.
If it could have played every PSP game, it would have been cool,
right?
But it couldn't. Yeah, like they try stuff. They're bad at trying stuff, but they try it.
I was going to say the only kind of thing I could see happening where anything would shift tides now would be if we get to these systems for the next generation. And let's say Microsoft goes first and they have a disk drive in their system, and Sony goes and says, we're not going to have a disk drive.
Disk drives are pluses.
Only.
They're not minuses.
Yeah. I could see that being something where you'd see a mass revolt against one or the other. So
the Xbox, I'm telling you right now, for them to have a shot to stay around, the next thing has to be A, really fucking good, and B, it has to have fucking games. Like,
it has to have games, and I think if they're smart, my plan would be you have whatever your Series X like powerful console is for the main console, and instead of doing a Series S equivalent, because that's been a joke, make that the handheld.
Yeah.
Because you can say, well, here's this handheld thing that's a companion to the system.
Yeah.
You can and that's the key.
We talked about
download
it
games
before.
to it. Yeah.
Make a console and make the Portal, and the Portal can play games too.
Yeah,
without having to stream it.
Do very well for them, especially. Right. I mean, there is a consumer base out there who would buy the handheld and just get a Game Pass subscription. It'd be good.
Steam Decks have proven it works.
Yeah,
Asus ROG Allies have proven that people want this shit. Microsoft can easily make one, but
they can't.
If there are no games for it, no one fucking cares. They shouldn't launch another system unless they've got 3 titles to go at launch.
They need to have at least 3 banger titles to start the generation with.
Right. And it needs a new Halo, which is always gonna, you know, with the other one not being, you know,
it doesn't matter if it's good. At best. Yeah, it doesn't matter if
it's still a name. Have fucking Forza.
Has a Forza.
Forza, so you can really show off the power, how it looks, and then like I don't know, Gears 6 or Bethesda, you know,
sync it up to launch
Elder Scrolls 6.
Elder Scrolls 6. In 2048.
I didn't put that article in here, but there was some. It wasn't Todd Howard, the one where he said, "There's no way we're going to live up to the hype around this game." Yeah,
that was basically the sum of that article. That guy was like, "We're fucked." The marketing team probably goes home and cries every day because they're fucked.
We're never going to live up to the hype. It's
impossible to make whatever game people want that to be. And I think Starfield really proved that people should temper their fucking expectations. Starfield,
they should.
You love it. I don't think it's a bad game, but I think it's a victim of Bethesda hype.
It's a victim of Bethesda hype, and it even being delayed as much as it was, it launched too soon.
Right.
If it would have launched 8 months later, great. Well, and like this DLC's out I'm going to play the DLC. So, cause I bought the pass thing whenever they came out. So I'm going to play the DLC, which I think is the 30th, of this month. But like all the previews for that DLC has been really strong.
Yeah.
Like, they're saying the writing's really good. Like it feels like what Starfield should have been when it launched.
Whoa.
Weird.
Whoa.
And you saw that trailer. It's getting into spooky territory, and I'm a fan of that.
Some games just have to cook for a year to 3 years after they're out. No Man's Sky. Fallout.
No Man's Sky.
I maintain Fallout 76 is a very good game now. But if you were soured on it before, it's unlikely you're going to get in now.
Well, it helps when the game is given more than 11 days.
Yeah,
I will say that.
There's that too. Who knows what Concord could have been in 3 years?
Do you know if you look up the Steam charts, it still says there's like 2 people playing it?
That's got to be devs or something that are still logged in.
Those
are devs that got fired and their work PCs are still logged into it.
There you go. Well, we can switch over to Microsoft and I'll put these two together here real quick. But Microsoft has already obviously not had the best year. I mean, they had a good E3, but then kind of backfired on it with some delays and stuff. But when this ABK deal went through, they fired like almost 2,000 people, right? It was like 1950. They have let go another 650 staff from their workforce. And from what I read, it's mostly like ABK acquisition stuff.
Well, you knew that was going to happen once they finally got everything settled, because some people at these companies have the same job. And both of you aren't going to do the same job anymore. It's what mergers and acquisitions and stuff do to people.
It's really hard to like I never want to make this sound like I'm not factoring in the people aspect of this, but like from a company standpoint, they'd be stupid not to, because it's like you said, it's redundancy. And they spent $70 billion.
We got to cut something somewhere. Yeah, and it's going to be people.
It's part of it. And again, from the people standpoint, it really, really sucks.
Right,
because they didn't have any say in who's buying them and what's happening and all that. But from the Microsoft standpoint, like, of course it's going to happen. Like I'm surprised it took this long.
Well, this is probably when stuff's finally starting to get figured out.
Well, on the flip side of that, and that's why I moved this up here to kind of keep all the Microsoft stuff together. I put this in here because the headline made me laugh. Microsoft employees don't even know what the current plan is. And this just goes back to like, are we still a console business? Are we a third-party publisher now? Like, it's gotten really weird.
A mobile phone game business.
We talked. Was it last time I recorded, or the time before, when with the Indiana Jones, like that happened at the Microsoft show at Gamescom. That wasn't like a press release. They put that PlayStation logo at the end of that trailer in their showcase.
They put those They put those 4 games out to test it. They seem to do pretty well. I think it's only going to ramp up, and I don't blame them for it. Fuck it.
And you and I have been on record to say, like, bring out the Master Chief Collection on PlayStation. I'll buy it.
Who's that hurt anymore? It doesn't hurt anybody anymore.
It's such a weird thing. I want it. I want to see it. I want to unlock trophies for Halo.
It immediately boosts player count on that in that game.
That's the other
on
reason.
Another system. Like, it wouldn't, like, I bet you if they release a game on PlayStation, people on Xbox playing it goes up.
Yep.
Because you're gonna have people playing it with their friends and stuff. Like, they're the Sega of the new generation. They just happen to still make a console.
That's kind of what it feels like right now.
And honestly, as much as you kind of want to have your console personality of like, I'm a PlayStation guy, I'm an Xbox guy, I'm a whatever guy. Like, I think from the Microsoft standpoint, like Xbox's point of view, that's what they should do. I think as much stuff as they can get on other things, they should do it. And they should also, if they can keep it low cost enough, have their own box too. Right. You know, like, I mean, it's basically what, you know, they've been in the PC business that way forever.
Or do the handheld thing, or like, if Game Pass is the money, right? And we bought ABK to put it on Game Pass to get more Game Pass subscribers. If all of the money is Game Pass, then doesn't it just make sense for Game Pass to be able to be played on as many things as possible? And all of our games be played on as many things as possible. You can still make your own box. You know what? It's easiest to play our stuff on our boxes. It's all in one ecosystem. But if you have a PlayStation, we'll sell you a copy of this game for $70. What's the difference? There's no, and we're talking about porting Master Chief Collection, and realistically, they would just port the PC version of it. Like it's
what's that from, like 2014, 2013,
from a long time ago. But you can't tell me that people wouldn't want to play that game on PlayStation right now.
Here's my odd question for you: does Indiana Jones and the Great Circle get a PS5 Pro patch?
I don't know anymore, because I was thinking about this.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't know.
Think about this. So I now know that Indiana Jones is going to be on PlayStation 6 months later. Yeah, I'm going to know 6 months in advance if that game is good or not.
Oh yeah.
So what happens if the game comes out, and I think it will be good. What happens if it comes out and it's not good?
What if it comes out and it's the IGN 7?
Well, that just means it's a video game. That's all that means. But what if it comes out and its Metacritic is like a 55?
Yeah.
Then does it sell on PlayStation at all?
I think it'll still sell by name, but not as much as they want it to.
Yeah, it's just like, so that's another part of this kind of game they're playing now, where, well, we'll release our stuff on another console 6 months later. Well, gee, I sure hope it's good. Yeah. Because what if that was a plan for Starfield all along, right? We're gonna put it on Xbox right away, and then 6 months later, it's gonna be on PlayStation, guys. Don't worry. And then it comes out for Xbox. Everybody goes, "Oh shit!" And it doesn't sell for PlayStation. So now we're playing this exclusive. Is exclusivity even worth trying to do? You're banking on the game being good. Plus, the game would have to come out on Xbox anyway, you know, or not be delayed.
I'm still clinging to like January 2025.
My Xbox, you know what though? It's my fault, because my Xbox backlog is so full that they did it for me. They delayed it for me.
No, that's a vow.
It's all games that they have.
You mean the game that was the other reason? Like obviously PS5 Pro pushed me into like, I'll probably build that new PC in the spring. But the other one was the Avowed announcement of it only running at 30 frames. Like, we're gonna do this again where you release it that way, and then in 6 months, hey, here's a patch where it runs at 60. Like, I don't know why they keep burying their head in the sand on that. So,
Redfall,
they got Starfield that runs at 60 on Series S.
Yeah,
it doesn't look very good,
but it couldn't run at 60 on an X at launch.
Yeah,
weird.
So